Let's get into it. Sold Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. I got the wife with me.
Hello.
And we got Joe Rogan talking to Deborah. And Joe Rogan, you know, he stays very composed, but he has a thing when it comes to CNN. Ever since they made him look like a zombie. Oh, you don't know about that?
No.
Oh, I'm going to show you that. Oh, okay. I didn't even know you didn't know that. Okay.
You know me so well. I didn't even move my face.
So he has a thing with CNN where he is pissed at what they did to him throughout the whole pandemic. He does not like what they did to him. And you guys are about to see him pretty much unleash on CNN, Brian Stelter, and Don Lemon, as Tucker Carlson pronounces it. Tucker always pronounces that name wrong as like an insult. So we're going to get into that. And then you have some information as well.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the recent ratings for all of the big news networks and the general trust of the public.
Yes, because Joe Rogan gets into some cocky. You know, I love when he talks like this. When he talks, he's like, he's talking about how much more ratings he has than the mainstream media. It's just, I love it. So I got 3 clips for you, and then another clip of him actually talking about Brian Stelter. So we got 4 clips for you guys. Let's get into this podcast real quick. Don't forget about IamCoachColin.com. We got Sold Not For Sale. We got Public Enemy #1 and much more. Discount code is IamCoachColin. All capital letters, all one word. 1 L in the name Colin. Let's get into this clip.
How'd you get it?
Can I ask you what it was like at the peak of the craziness when they were coming after you? Pretty much every single news network was coming after you.
It was fascinating.
You turn on the TV and they're calling you all these names.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like?
Very eye-opening, because they were all doing it in lockstep, and you could clearly tell there was an agenda. And that it wasn't based on reality. Like, I wasn't taking horse medicine. They knew I wasn't taking horse medicine. They fucking knew it, and they were saying it on CNN. But they sacrificed their own credibility in doing so. And luckily, the people, look, it was obviously one of the things that CNN did that was so stupid is they had very unlikable people that were talking. Like, you have Brian Stelter and Don Lemon, 2 of the most unlikable fucking human beings that have ever been on television. And they're the ones saying these things. So it did the opposite of work. I got 2 million subscribers in a month because of all that shit. And people would say these terrible things about me. And then people would listen to the podcast and go, oh, he's just curious. He's just asking questions and talking to people. But they didn't want curiosity. But the really fascinating thing to me was how quickly I got better. And that they didn't want to concentrate on that at all. They just want to concentrate on me being a conspiracy theorist who took veterinary medicine. Veterinary medicine that's been prescribed literally billions of times for human beings. It's on the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines. I mean, it's so wild. It's just wild. It's wild. It was wild to watch it happen, but what I had on my side was that my podcast was way bigger than them. I don't think they knew that at the time. I think when CNN was going after me, they have this delusional perspective of their reach, and they thought that they were bigger than me. But my show I have 10 times as many people as the best show on CNN, and now it's way worse. Like, now they're getting the worst ratings that they've had since 1991. On some of their shows, they have 40,000 people watching. And they're in fucking airport. They're everywhere. 40,000.
Wow.
That's crazy. I can get 40,000 people watching an Instagram reel in 10 minutes.
No joke.
Yeah. They suck. It's a sucky organization. They suck at telling the truth. They suck at the news. They suck at not being whores. They're whores. That's what they are. They're whores for the pharmaceutical drug companies. And then, they all got fired, which is even funnier. They're all gone now. You know, they just fucking blow off in the wind somewhere. You're never going to hear from Don Lemon again. Nobody gives a fuck about that guy. Nobody gives a fuck about Brian Stelter either. No one cares. So it's like, what you did was you sacrificed your own credibility hoping that it was going to take out the competition, and it did the opposite.
Well, I thank you for speaking up, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way.
Well, I didn't plan on it. The only reason why I did is I was curious. So I was talking to this guy, Robert Malone, and he was telling me, like, I own 9 patents on the creation of mRNA vaccine technologies. I was at the beginning of this, and I can tell you what's wrong with it. I can tell you what's going on. And, we should tell people. And I was like, okay. As I have them on, then I'm just getting fucking attacked. And attacked by people like Neil Young. And the most disturbing thing was watching Neil Young talk on Howard Stern about it. Because I'm like, oh my God, you don't know jack shit about this stuff. And you're taking this stand against misinformation. You don't even have any information. You literally don't know a goddamn thing about it. And it probably had something more to do with the people who own his catalog. And they probably also have interest in the pharmaceutical drug companies. There's probably all sorts of conversations about how to stop this just objective truth from being disseminated.
Or even just asking questions and having conversations and having those physicians on your podcast.
Yeah.
I would say the episode you did with RFK Jr. also was very eye-opening. So I really recommend people listen to it because it's just scary the way that they've portrayed him in the mainstream, and you listen to him and he's so reasonable.
Yes, that is Joe Rogan going off. You don't usually see him get like that.
Yeah, he's clearly annoyed.
Yeah, no, he's very, very annoyed. He even let off in one of the episodes. They do a Protect Our Parks when it's like all the guys together. Just a
Okay.
bunch of comedians. He actually let out the fact that he was like, I was seriously considering suing CNN.
Wow.
He was like, I was going to sue them.
Wow.
And he didn't even say it in past tense. He was like thinking about it
Interesting.
because he still has that option.
Of course.
So it's very, very interesting. But yeah, that's Joe Rogan. An Instagram reel, 40,000. It would be more than that within like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think he's being conservative.
Yeah, it would be crazy. It would be crazy right away. I can
Yeah.
only imagine what his interactions are like on Instagram and all sorts of media. But I have another clip that we're gonna jump into. I just got to move the cursor. Oh man, I can't wait until one day we have a producer, and I'm just gonna be like, next clip. And he's going to be like, no problem. And that's it. But yeah, remind me. Do not let me forget. I'm going to show you what they did to Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Because you have to see it. It's so crazy.
That is weird.
There's a before and after, and it's like it's very interesting what they decided to do to him, what they made him look like. It was like they literally, it's like we're reading 1984. It's like that type of behavior.
Really?
It was so weird what they did to him. So let's just get into this right here. Yeah, they made him look as if he was dying. That's what they did to him. So let's get into the next clip here, guys. Let's go. Let me unmute this. Let's go.
Swill.
Well, it's just they're trying to survive, and this is their business, and there's a lot of people involved in that business, and the business sucks. It's a sucky business. Just no one would start that business today. No one would say, you know what I want to do? I want to do the news, but only get like real shallow with stuff and only have whatever the government or the regime supported narrative is. I just want to say that. And then I want to get all the money from drug companies and whatever else is like selling toxic shit. Like they have a lot of money. And then we'll use that money. And that's what we'll do. Like no one's going to do that now. Like mainstream media now is, when it comes to the news, is independent media.
Yeah.
If you look at the YouTube shows like Breaking Points, they get way more views than the average show that's on MSNBC or CNN. Like no one cares about that anymore.
But I would say the one good thing about legacy media before was that it would force people to some extent to be exposed to views that they don't necessarily agree with or that they wouldn't necessarily be exposed to. Like with your show, because it is so big, I think it does reach everyone. But I think I would say there's a risk that people might be siphoned off even more into echo chambers because they will only consume the media that they agree with or that of commentary that they like, as opposed to if you open, say, a mainstream newspaper back in the day, you go to the opinion section, like I'm an opinion writer, you'll read columns maybe that you agree with, but you'll also read columns that you really disagree with, and you might hate that columnist, but every week or every day you're going to be forced to come across that, and I think that helps people humanize opinions that they dislike because they'll say, well, there are people out there who have this view, even if I really disagree with it, and maybe there are parts of this argument that I can, to some extent, see the validity of, even if I don't agree with them. I can understand a little bit more where they're coming from. But now it seems like if we just follow the particular people that we like, do we really necessarily? Because many people will only have people on their show. Not everyone. Like I'd say many of my colleagues are really good about this. They'll have people on that they disagree with.
Yeah.
Then you have the problem of the guest who doesn't want to come on. Like for me, when I was podcasting with my show, it's currently on a hiatus, but we will be coming back to it. I would reach out to people who disagree with me and they don't want to talk to me.
Yeah, they don't want to platform you, which is hilarious.
Yeah, or they lose points by talking to
I
someone.
think you're making a good point about what used to be legacy media in terms of newspapers, the opinion pieces. But, obviously, we're also talking about something where you really get to go into depth. Like an opinion piece in the New York Times, you have thousands of words.
Yeah.
You have so much of an opportunity to express yourself uninterrupted and unchecked. Whereas what I was talking about is mainstream news. And mainstream news is this very surface, what's going to freak you out and keep you tuned in as much as possible. And, much to their dismay, the most effective product they had was Donald Trump. The hate for Donald Trump was a ratings boom for CNN. They probably made millions and millions of dollars just because they covered Trump.
100%. And we actually found an article on something along those lines.
Yeah.
Where, the Trump hatred and then the town hall that they did. Trump was, little did they know, because they had such disdain for him, but he was a lifeblood for them.
Yes.
8 years of it.
Yeah.
Or no, 4 years.
Well, yeah.
Wishful thinking.
Well, with the years leading up to the first election and now, like, it probably is close to 8.
True.
You're probably right.
That is true. Yeah, it's very, very interesting that somebody they hated so much was actually the reason for them being successful at all.
Mm-hmm.
And the hubris of not realizing that.
Hubris. Good word.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I used it right?
I like it. You did.
There you go.
I just want to talk about what Deborah was saying, too, about being exposed to different points of view.
Yeah.
Because in theory, she makes sense. But the issue is that the news conglomerates generally don't show differing points of views.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as she said that.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I kind of understand what she means, but you don't get to see a bunch of
No, because they don't publish it.
Yeah, they won't show you that.
So it's not that that's not true, I wouldn't say. And also, even if they did, if somebody is watching news, and I'm thinking kind of the average person.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe, like, I feel like most news consuming people are kind of upper middle aged.
Yes.
So I'm picturing even like my parents.
Upper middle age. That's a real nice way of saying it.
I'm trying. My dad gets so upset when he's called old. So people of that kind of demographic, when they see something they don't like, they're not just going to be like, oh, maybe. They'll just change the channel.
Oh, yeah, it's done.
Exactly.
And if it happens again and again, it's like a conditioning thing. It's like,
and
well,
they just won't go back to it.
That thing makes me angry.
And when we talk about ratings a little bit later on, we can see exactly what's happening.
Oh,
and
yeah?
it's that.
That makes sense.
But we'll discuss that in a bit.
All right, perfect. All right, I got another clip, one more clip, actually 2 more clips, because we're going to go from this and then we're going to move on to the other clip, which is also Joe Rogan. Of course. You guys know where you are. All right, let's get into that one. Actually, let me mute myself quick.
And that's scary stuff. It really is. I mean, but that's with everything in our culture. I think the only thing that's saving us is honest discussions. It's the only thing that's saving us right now. And I think that's a thing that they never saw coming, which is really interesting.
Or that people have the guts to keep going, right?
Yeah.
I think many people who are trying to suppress this information or suppress information more broadly just think that they could silence the people who are against them.
Yeah.
But there are very stubborn people out there.
Well, also, those people wind up getting fired too, and they wind up getting cast out too. And then they wind up like going, oh, what did I do this for? Like we were talking about with CNN, like those anchors. They're fucking homeless now. Like, who knows what they're doing? I mean, I'm sure they're not homeless, but they're jobless. Like, what are they doing now? Like, what did you do? And look what happened. Look where it got you. It got you nowhere. Like, maybe enough people realize, like, you can't have a career in bullshitting people anymore. That's not going to work. There's too many people that call bullshit. There's too many people. And then other people will check, well, who's right? And then when they go over it, they go, oh, that guy that you call bullshit on, like, he's fucking accurate. You're bullshit. You're the bullshit party. And, oh, look, you're sponsored by all these. Oh, well, there it is. Seems pretty obvious now. And that's the thing. That's why nobody wants to listen to mainstream news anymore. And, you know, you're talking about, like, opinion pieces in the New York Times and things along those lines. Like, yeah, those used to be really important, but those are ideologically captured as well now. There's less and less of those that I trust now.
When you do see one of those reasonable voices in a mainstream publication, it's, like, shocking.
I know. Like, how long does this guy have to survive?
How did this happen?
How long is she going to be working for there? Yeah, it's not good. But also, it's kind of interesting because I feel like ideas as well, like almost everything, has to have something that's fighting against. And
the push and pull.
Yeah, and that push and pull, whether we like it or not, we want utopia, but it doesn't exist. That push and pull is imperative for growth and change. And I think that push and pull that we're experiencing with the death of the relevance of mainstream media, at least in terms of television news, is beneficial to the rise of independent media. Because independent journalism, there are Matt Taibbi's and, you know, and Schellenbergers, and there's people out there, Barry Weiss, that are really trying to tell the truth. And they do exist. And you can find them when you've had enough.
When you've had enough.
Yeah.
That is the key thing. You have to have had enough. And you have to kind of wake up to what you're seeing in terms of the mainstream media.
Yeah, for sure.
I noticed. But yeah, that was him going in on Brian Stelter, Don Lemon. It's, I love it. I love it. I love when he talks about those guys.
I found it interesting, though, that he was saying, like, oh, people, you find out that they're sponsored by certain companies or parties or whatever else on the mainstream news, and then it makes it seem not as trustworthy, and that people are leaning towards kind of these social media people instead. But now those sponsorships are starting to leak over onto social media.
Oh yeah.
Like those kids you showed me who are like sponsored by the Biden administration.
Yeah. Yeah. Harry Sesson, I believe. Yeah.
So it's like you can't trust anything anywhere, really.
Oh yeah. I've talked about this at length, that people think that it's over. Just we're on Instagram now and that's it. We're over on YouTube. No. It's right now. I won't call out anybody, but right now there are factions on YouTube. These little networks, they're made to seem like they're conservative or liberal, and they're very captured. And you can tell some of them come from mainstream media and they've just switched over to now they're on YouTube.
Yeah.
They're still very captured. 100%.
Yeah.
I think in some ways that when you are a part of something like, let's say, MSNBC, I think that's the same thing if you're a part of another 3-letter agency, where it's like you're never really done, you're never really gone. I think you still have those contacts from those agencies where they would give you talking points and talk to you.
Yeah.
I think you could still be reached out to. I think you can still be financially incentivized to do it and to let out certain narratives and not let out others. I don't know. I watch a lot of content and I notice it. I'm like, this seems so fake.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. And the thing is, you notice it the most when there's a tragedy of some kind. Like October 7th, what happened with Israel and how they were so viciously attacked with Hamas. That showed exactly what was what in terms of the online space.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden there was online networks that were saying the same thing as MSNBC. But on any other day, they would have been completely against anything that mainstream outlet had to say.
That's true.
It was weird. Everybody kind of lined up, and it was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Something's happening here. So,
yeah, whenever people say the same thing, it's dangerous.
Yeah, you got to be wary when people start speaking in unison.
Yeah.
That's just my take on the whole thing.
And I find, too, like sometimes we'll listen to things from independent people on YouTube, and it seems very out of character what they're saying.
Yeah.
And those things really make me think as well, like, okay, who's behind this?
Yeah. Who's reaching out to them? Who has a hold of them? Because they're captured. You gotta realize these people who are on YouTube that you see, a lot of them still have agents and managers, and they're part of talent agencies and all sorts of stuff. Like so many times when you see two people who are in a beef, they're represented by the same talent agency.
Oh, that's true.
And that talent agency has just decided, hey, like, just do this.
You're gonna beef now.
Yeah, and it's good for both of you. Both of you have seen a little bit of dips in your viewership. So you guys are just gonna come together like this. You guys are really friends. It doesn't matter. It's true.
Yeah, 100%. That's like when you hear about like it's like almost a cliche thing, like actors in a movie will start dating each other.
Yes.
Just for the sake of publicity.
Exactly. You're catching on, lady. All right, I can't find too many. For some reason, I can't find too many examples, but I'll show you this one. Actually, let's do the clip first. Let's do the clip first, and then let's switch over to me showing you what CNN did. Here, let's play this.
Podcast host Joe Rogan has had just enough of this far-left hypocrisy and called out fake news CNN's Brian Stelter this week. Listen to this.
They were saying, there's people on YouTube right now that get more views than this show. This is because the market is spoken. Right. And your show's terrible. Brian Stelter talking to the press secretary saying, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? Like, hey, you're supposed to be a journalist.
He's very angry. Yeah. You can tell he's very upset with what they did to him. And I would be too, obviously. I mean, how could you not be?
But it's interesting, too, because you were saying that he was actively considering suing at one point. But he also said that he got 2 million subscribers in 1 month. So that might have been the reason that he didn't sue. Maybe. Because generally, when you sue somebody, you have to claim damages. And he didn't have any.
True.
Not really.
That's very true. Very, very true. If anything, it helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That is a good, yeah, I never thought of that.
So he was probably like, meh, like if it cost him money, I'm sure he would have.
But also, like, you'd have to claim damages, yes. But At the same time, if they're just saying things that are just outright lies about you,
Yeah.
there has to be something to that.
Yeah, it's defamation, for sure.
Right? I think you would have a case in terms of that.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe the CIA reached out to him. They're like, Joe, these are your partners. You can't do this, Joe. I'm trying to find the side by side for you, and I can't find it for some reason.
They just made him look like really sickly.
Yeah. Here, let me see if this is it. Let me see how they made him. Oh no, this is CNN. Man, you can't find it. All right, I'll just show you this.
I wonder if they like knew they could be open to litigation and they took everything down.
Oh yeah, it's completely gone because I've done episodes on this one.
And they like scrubbed it.
Yeah, it seems scrubbed.
Interesting.
Here, let me just write in a full sentence. CNN made Joe Rogan look sick. Let me just see if that can find it. Nah, you're just finding the one. Oh, here's a little of a kind of side by side. Here, let me see if I can pull this.
Oh yeah, they like edited the picture.
Yeah, so that one at the bottom.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's what CNN did, and then that's what he actually looked like.
So they just like made him green? That doesn't even look real.
That's right.
Like, how did anybody see that? And they were like, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, because that's what people do. That's
That's
people's brains work.
Made his cheekbones look all like hollow too.
Yeah, they were making like, look at him.
That's great. He looks fine.
Yeah.
He's like out in the woods. He's good.
He's out in his estate right there.
Yeah, wherever he is.
I can't wait till we have some trees like that. But yeah, that's what they did to him basically. Yeah, it was funny.
That's crazy.
That. So that was the beginning of it for him because it was week after week they would write these hit pieces on him.
Yeah.
Just constantly writing hit pieces on him, and you can tell he's still holding a little bit of a grudge.
For sure.
I would too. But let's springboard. We springboard from Joe Rogan and everything that he just said, which I 100% agree with. Never liked Brian Stelter. Never liked Don Lemon. And they are some of the most unlikable people. That's a very good observation that he said as well. He's like, they went and put such unlikable people as their talking heads.
That's so weird.
And that is very true. Because Don Lemon's very unlikable. He's
like you should just have like trustworthy looking people.
Yeah. You think that you're just going to kind of put a minority and I don't know what you'd call Brian Stelter, a little guy. Maybe he's considered a minority if he's Jewish or something. I don't know. But you think you're just going to throw minorities at people and people are just going to be like, okay, I'll trust this. People are getting tired of that.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm tired of it.
Even if you were going to do that, minorities aren't just one person.
That's true too.
You know what I mean? Like you can still find a different guy.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like that's their wheelhouse. That's what they do. They just throw unlikable people at the screen and just see what sticks.
And that's CNN?
Yeah.
Oh, that's silly.
The CNN, Fox is doing a little bit of that. I want to say they were considering a minority to replace Tucker Carlson, but then they went with Jesse Waters instead, which was a smart bet because Jesse Waters is actually, pretty good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of these new. But either way, Tucker Carlson, he has a new network, and his motto, their little motto that they have is corporate media is dead.
Yeah.
Because in reality, this is not, and people have pointed this out, that the mainstream is actually what's going on X and YouTube and with all these independent people. And what you're seeing on TV is corporate.
Yeah.
That's the corporate media now. And that is starting to pass away.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, in a really shocking way.
Well, so many more people are exposed every day to news on social media.
Yeah, exactly. You don't
like we don't even have cable, satellite, whatever hookup.
Yeah, exactly. You don't wake up and turn on the TV like you used to, or sit in front of the TV. People used to sit in front of the TV and read the paper.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
So you'd hear what was going on currently and see what happened in the opinion pieces and blah, 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 and throughout the week. And that's how you got your news. Now people wake up and sometimes it's just like straight to your phone, straight to X. Some people are straight to X just to see what happened in the past 12 hours.
Yeah. Looking at what's trending and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And how are you not going to believe that?
Yeah.
Especially because the mainstream big names had to go on there as well. Mm-hmm. They're all there. So it's like, why wouldn't I? Why would I just believe MSNBC and not like this guy too?
Yeah.
Like this guy's here. They're all in the same place. Let's go.
Yeah.
They all wrote an article. So what? Like, what's the difference?
It's true.
People are starting to wake up. But yeah, let's get into the stats that we found in that whole conversation of things.
Well, I can tell you a little bit about the ratings because we were talking about corporate news versus like social media news. So I looked up the ratings from the week of January 2nd. So that week that just finished.
Okay.
And CNN is actually the bottom. So it showed me the ratings for like the top 3 news networks. So
CNN's
Fox,
at the bottom?
Fox, CNN, and MSNBC. CNN is the least popular of those 3.
Fox is at the top?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep, you got it. So for Fox, in a day, they got an average of 1.552 million users.
Okay.
Viewers. CNN averaged 0.454 million, and MSNBC was 0.892. So weekly, I calculated all these out. All of these 3 news networks combined would be 21 million viewers a week.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And you said he makes like 3 to 4 episodes a week, right?
Yeah. It's Monday to Thursday usually.
Okay,
Friday
so
to
probably
take off.
4. So if I'm saying 3, that's conservative, and he gets 11 million viewers per episode. So that's 33 million versus 21 for the big 3.
Yeah.
Which is
crazy?
absolutely insane.
It's nuts.
So he is mainstream news.
Yeah.
The other ones need to like...
In case you're wondering why so many these are Joe Rogan clips that I'm playing for you guys. These are news clips. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm a journalist.
This
you
is world
understand?
news.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That's so
Can you
weird.
imagine being able to like, I don't know, just like go about your day, go to the grocery store, and know that more people tune into you than any news network?
Yeah, it's weird.
All of the news networks combined.
That's weird.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's a very odd thing to have happen.
Yeah.
And then you're just like a comedian and you're like doing stuff.
And they tried to come after him.
Yeah. And you're just like
Shocker.
Smoking weed every day and you're just chilling. And you're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's hop on this show here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. You said I get more viewers than Anderson Cooper?
Yeah, you do.
Ha, take it. Take it, Cooper. What's up?
I was surprised because I thought he would be like millions and millions and millions. But the reference they made was just May, this past May.
Yeah.
He had 646,000 viewers in the month.
Yeah, we doubled you. How about that? There you go.
Isn't that so weird?
Yeah.
Like I was honestly shocked to see how low these ratings were. I had no idea.
They're getting very, very low.
Yeah.
And that's why, and a lot of people try to shoo it away and they're trying to like pick it apart. Tucker Carlson is past, I think he's past a billion since he got fired. He got fired
amazing.
In April 21st.
Yeah.
And he's already passed like 1 billion views
That's crazy.
just on X.
Good for him.
Like,
But then it makes you think too, because I was thinking about like Anderson Cooper, I'm sure makes millions.
Yeah.
So then how,
it's not a fair
how does
trade-off.
that work? So
That's
like
for sure.
clearly they're getting,
He wins there.
yeah, for sure. But then also like, how are they paying for that?
How are they justifying paying for it?
Not even that, like literally where is the money coming from?
That's a great question. And if you could, following money is always a terrifying endeavor.
Yeah.
If you actually end up following it properly, where does all that money come from?
That's crazy.
Like
that's not enough viewers
it seems like it's
to
not.
justify that salary.
But here's the thing, right? There are advertisers, of course, and then there are people who own the company.
Yeah.
And they're probably it probably gets to a point with people in certain positions where they're like, well, this company, this news outlet, it's not making any money, but it does craft narrative. So we can still use it for that. So it's like, if you guys need another $50 million for the quarter, that's fine. We'll do that for you.
That's crazy.
But just make sure we're in the proper light.
Yeah.
Me and all the companies that I own, in every sector that I own them.
Yeah.
Just make sure all of that's in the proper light. And do what I say. You guys don't even make any money. Just do what I say.
Yeah. CNN is trying to kind of rebrand right now, which is, I think, a little bit silly. So their goal is to be very kind of centrist.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Yes.
When it
And
was
then it
first
kind of
made.
it leaned left.
Yeah.
And then they weren't doing so well, and MSNBC was way more popular than they were as a left-leaning news organization.
Of course. Yeah.
So now they've decided they're going to try and go more in the middle. But what's happening is all of their left-leaning viewers are bailing and going to MSNBC. Shocker.
Yeah.
So right now, that's why they're third, because Fox is on top because they're more right-leaning.
Yes,
and then
definitely.
MSNBC is second as left. And then CNN's just taking up the rear because there's not as many centrists in the world.
Well, you have to do it properly. That's the thing. That's what CNN. I'm going to sound like the Trump of like outlets. It couldn't be any worse. You make me CEO. I promise you. 24 hours. Sounds just like Trump. I'll have this solved in 24 hours.
Sound like Elon.
Easily I can fix the company in 24 hours.
What would you do?
I would start. Here's what you start with. This is what you start with, right? Whoever you're beholden to in terms of advertising, you get rid of them. And you know who's their main advertiser. You cut ties. Any agency that's able to email them, reminiscent of the Twitter files, any agency that's been contacting them like, hey, this is misinformation, cut ties. We can no longer talk to you.
Yeah.
We will figure it out ourselves. We're journalists. That's it. Okay, so that's the first thing. So now you have a dramatic amount of freedom. Second thing is you have me dressed like this. No suits. No suits. We don't change. Same hat, everything. It's not even washed. No problem. Apologize for everything you did.
Yeah.
Say I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what we did. We were beholden to advertisers and shareholders, and it's just the way that news has become. And we don't want to be like that anymore. And we're so sorry. And we're going to change. We're going to change dramatically, and you'll see.
I'd watch it.
Right away. That message alone would be like the most viewed thing they've ever done.
Yeah.
They'd be like, they have an insane CEO who just apologized for the way that they operate. That right there is everything. And then if you want to be in the center, here's the thing. You don't be in the center by sitting around with a bunch of people who are in the center. You get far right people.
Yeah.
You get far left people. You get all sorts of shows like that. I would go to Jimmy Dore. I'd be like, I want you to come on this platform. I will pay you an exorbitant amount of money. You've never seen this type of money before. I know what your net worth is. I'm going to double it, triple it, quadruple it. You reach out to Alex Jones. You reach out to everybody. And then you reach out to Joe Rogan. And you say, along with this apology, I would like to have you on one of our segments, our primetime segments, so we can talk about this and clear the air on this whole thing. Because we can tell that you're still upset, and we're very sorry.
That'd be crazy.
And then you get Joe, and he goes, I don't want to do it. It's going to be a 5-minute segment. And go, no. We're going to unlimited time. The segment's going to be live and unlimited time. And you can say whatever you'd like to say. You just do it like that. Oh, it would be crazy. That
would be
alone,
crazy.
it's done. It's done. X who? I don't care about X anymore. I watch TV now.
Yeah.
Everybody goes back to TV. Everybody goes back to TV. They're like, I'm going to watch TV. This network's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
that
what
would
you
be
do.
insane.
And then you hire a bunch of young people to go abroad and do new stuff. Okay. But what do you do before that? You get James O'Keefe to teach them how to do journalism. Yeah. You
That'd be
teach
cool.
ethics and sting operations. Send them all over the world. All over the world to just do that. And that's it. That's what
That'd be
CNN's
crazy.
doing. James O'Keefe is in charge of teaching young people. Have Jimmy Dore in charge of teaching the young journalists of how to call out both sides of things, and how to look at every situation and call out both sides, because he does that so well. And you just keep doing that. People would be mind blown by this. It'd be crazy. You get 18-year-olds watching your network. Done. I'm telling you. 6 months of that, it's top. Done.
Yeah, probably.
And then we go after Rogan. What? We're going to go after Rogan's numbers. Of course. We're going to dominate. Because there's going to be podcasts too. There's going to be live podcasts.
Yeah.
Every single day. It's going to be ridiculous. And then, I mentioned those far right and far left people.
Yep.
They got to come together.
Yeah, of course.
They have to come together every, I don't know, maybe once a week, maybe every day even, on a bunch of random topics. And they debate it out. And they all have to shake hands and be friendly after.
Yeah.
And that's what you show people in the world. Done. Perfect. Done. Get somebody in Israel who is Israeli. Get him to go like undercover James O'Keefe style. Someone in Gaza, do the same thing. They both meet up. They compare notes. And they do like a whole expose on the whole thing going on. Do that in Russia. Do that in Ukraine. Oh yeah. If you gave
thought
me,
about this.
if you gave me the money, oh my god, I make the best news network in the world. This is what I do with just a room and my wife. And I'm already beating Anderson Cooper. You kidding me? Just give me the money. Just give me the money. Give me the people. That's it. Give me 4 researchers. We'll do so much more. I don't know. And then I get shot. Whatever.
No, don't say that.
Yeah.
No,
they gotta. They can't let that fly.
They gotta make you wear. They gotta like a Kevlar hazmat suit all the time.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, that would be the plan. That's what I would do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what's going on with ratings?
Well, we already discussed it.
Okay, is that everything?
That was everything.
Sorry, I cut you off there. But yeah, that's exactly what I would do if I was CNN, because they're in a bad place. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is the other thing I wanted to touch on. Let me see here. Bring that up. Boom. People who are under 30 trust information from social media as much as national news outlets. And how could they not? Because like I said, those national news outlets are all on the same platforms, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to trust that. Then we had this here.
This little chart. I was surprised by this because it says overall people trust local news organizations more than national news.
Well, here's the thing. This is the reason I think that's happening, is because you can verify what's happening locally.
Yeah.
Right? If somebody says there's a fire and you can smell smoke, you're going to be like, well, they're onto something. You know? Whereas and also locally with other things, you can ask your fellow neighbor and community about it.
Yeah.
And you'll hear the same thing. So it's kind of easier to trust.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. That's what I'm thinking when it comes to local news, because I would trust local news too. 100%.
Yeah, I think it would depend on what it is.
That too, of course. It has to be situation to situation.
Like if it's a story like that, that's very like black and white, sure.
Basic, yeah.
But when it starts getting to those opinion pieces,
yeah, true.
Then it's harder.
Gets a lot harder, but still, at the end of the day, I'm gonna trust somebody locally a little more, you know. And that's me saying that because I'm thinking of the average person. Because me personally, I would like go find out myself, kind of thing. I don't know, because I don't watch any news per se.
Yeah, true.
You know, I'm constantly engulfed in the biggest news outlet in the world. Not even gonna call it a podcast anymore. A cultural institution. I'm a scholar, JRE scholar. But yeah, 18 to 25, they're trusting local news. It seems like. Well, no, it went down.
But if we look at like the all adults column on the very right, it's really interesting to see that trust in social media news stayed almost the same. It dropped by 1 point over time. But if we look at the difference between the trust for local news and national news, it's severely gone down.
Of course.
National news dropped 15%.
And that's from 2016, 2018, 2020, and then 2022.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's happened in those last, I mean, if you compare it to now, it's 2024, but in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It dropped considerably because you're like, I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on.
Exactly.
You're hearing reports from here and you're seeing this and that.
And now it's coming out things are wrong and nobody will acknowledge it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I say when I take over CNN, the apology.
Yeah, you have to.
That'd be the key thing.
You got to right your wrongs.
Like if all the news outlets just apologized and said we got it wrong, and we're gonna work harder tonight, everybody would be like, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I can kind of reset my opinion on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Forward, you know, apologizing is the best thing to do.
Like even if they just kept up with news as in general instead of just ignoring things that didn't fit their previous narrative.
That too.
Then I'd be fine. I wouldn't even need an apology because you don't need to apologize for showing the facts as they are currently.
Yeah, true.
You don't need, because that's not you making a decision. It's just, this is what was given to us right now. This is what we found out. Here you go. And then people can make their own minds up.
True.
You don't even have to apologize.
Yeah.
Just show the facts.
Yeah. Just be like, things changed.
Yeah. Be like, update to the story.
That's
Here
true.
you go.
That's true too. Yeah, so that one stood out to me. This was an interesting one, that a lot of people under 30 are now trusting social media just as much. Makes sense. Gives way to people like Joe Rogan and myself and others. And then this one here, where was the one with the big... Oh no, I got rid of that one. Yeah. Trust in media. This also is another chart I like to see. This is going up to 2022, but I doubt that it's gone up since 2022. I'll be honest with you. Are you seeing it as well?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay. So what are these ages here on this side? 60, 80. No, that's a percent. Oh, these are just the years. Ew. Not very much. Not very much. Oh, I made it.
Yeah, just general trust in mass media by political affiliation.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see Democrats traditionally trust mass media way more than Republicans do. Like way more.
That's interesting.
Especially coming up recently.
I wonder why that is. Democrats. Well, I guess
most of the news is kind of left leaning.
Yeah, true. That is true. True.
So it's already fitting a narrative that they agree with.
Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of, it's putting them in that echo chamber. Kind of opposite of what Deborah was talking about.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, CNN preaches patience as ratings tank during turnaround. 25 cratering, sorry. A whopping 25% since last year, despite bump from Trump town hall. And that's a very small bump because he was just on there one time.
Yeah.
And they treated him terribly. Caitlin Collins. She's a terrible. Trump called her a nasty lady. You're a nasty lady.
Well, that's kind of nice. He could have said a lot worse things. He has in the past.
That's true. He's like, you're a nasty lady. Nasty lady. But she was being so nasty. She was being terrible. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows who's in charge of hiring the CEOs at CNN, let me know. I'm definitely open to the job. And that'll be it. Mm-hmm. What else you got?
That's it.
Guys, Joe Rogan taking another stab at CNN. He's not going to stop. He doesn't like Brian Stelter. Oh, yeah, just to say, Brian Stelter, the last appearance that I saw him make, just for anybody wondering, like what kind of guy this guy is, World Economic Forum.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. He was running a panel on disinformation and misinformation.
Love that.
And it was so wild because there was a certain point where they brought up someone on the panel was speaking to an American senator, and she was like, in Europe we have these hate speech laws, and she grabbed his knee. She said, don't worry, they're coming to you too.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I think I've seen Joe Rogan talk about that.
Probably because I was covering it like crazy when it first happened.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was like Brian Stelter's just like laughing along.
Yeah.
Just a straight up puppet.
That's crazy.
Puppet. It's very, very interesting to see, like, as all this happens, as Joe Rogan happens, as this big movement on YouTube and X and all these things happen, to see almost the unmasking of mainstream media, to see the unmasking of these agents, I want to call them. We call them anchors, but they're more like agents.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
No, they're just talking heads.
Yeah. And they're getting paid a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
To lie if need be. I wouldn't say they always lie.
Yeah.
But if they need to, they will.
Yeah, well, it's hard too because like those people don't do research. They're not even handed.
They are.
They're given a screen and said and they're told to read off of it.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. No, you're 100% right. They are handed. They'll be handed something. They can go over it because the teleprompter's here, but you want to read it beforehand to get it memorized, so your eyes don't go back and forth. So they are handed something, and then they have the teleprompter, and they don't really have any control. Like when Joe Rogan says you're supposed to be a journalist, journalists are supposed to do their research.
Yes, but those people aren't journalists.
They're not doing any research.
They just read it.
Yeah.
Like they could just have like an AI voice read it out at this point. It would make no difference.
We're getting there, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know. Weird stuff. But I always like talking about this stuff because I like to see, I don't want to say I like to see the trust crumble. I just like to see that there's an alternative. Because for the longest time growing up, I stopped watching the news and TV, and there was just no alternative. It was like you just had to kind of sit back and just like listen to Howard Stern interview people and listen to just interviews, but you couldn't get proper news. And then all these people started popping up, and things are really changing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens. I hope I'm there. I don't know. I might just stay in the JRE university. Just become a scholar. Maybe I'll teach a class.
There you go.
You would hate that. You would hate that. He'd be like, there's some guy teaching a class in Stanford University on my podcast. I would love that. All right. Anyways, we're out of here. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I'm out.
Bye.